He's always there. He's always watching. Hey everyone, it's Alex. Welcome back to my channel. Or if this is your first time here, welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about what the fuck has been happening for the past 4 months of my life. So if you don't know, in my last video, I mentioned that I'm in a new location. If you can't even see it right now, but I have carpet in my room. I am in a different location, different room configuration. And that is because we finally moved out of Florida. And it was a fucking journey to get out of Florida. And I have literally written down, I have 6 pages of me describing the process and the shit. Now, this isn't just like, oh, we moved. Like, there was so much unnecessary shit. I like to share this information to remind you to do certain things when you are moving across the country. Moving is like one of the most stressful things you can ever do. From 2013 to literally 2019, I moved every single year. Every year I would end up in a new apartment. And 2018 is when we moved to Florida. So so let me get this whole thing. I gave you a really shitty quality video a couple of months ago, maybe like a year ago, about me moving down to Florida. The quality is not great because I am recording it on a cardboard box of a camera. It was on Twitch. The quality wasn't great. I was trying to use my webcam. Webcams are not great quality. But if you want to listen to that and the whole process of why I quit, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of tea. So we moved to Florida in 2018. Now, I was the first one to move. My boyfriend and I were only dating for up to like 6 months at the time. Dating someone as soon as you graduate college, that is such like a weird in-between time because you don't know what the fuck is going to happen. And we both were applying for jobs like for a year. I think I applied to over 150 jobs and I was having no fucking luck at all because everyone wants an entry-level job, but you have to have 5 years of experience and you're going to get paid $35,000, which is like, no. I applied to one job in Florida that looked cool. It looked cool. Ended up not being cool. I ended up moving down to Florida in 2018. 1 month later, my boyfriend joined me. Obviously, my boyfriend told his parents because he was living with his family at the time. So I didn't tell my parents that my boyfriend was moving in with me. I'm like, yeah, we've only been dating for 6 months, but it's been 6 years and we're still together and we still live together. Luckily, it all worked out. He was very lucky in finding a job as soon as he like moved in and lived there. We didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen. We just thought maybe he would just live there for the summer. He would just work a summer job, but he was able to very easily get a teaching job down there. We lived down there for 5 years. But on August 13th, 2021 is when I quit my Florida job. It became very toxic. I have that whole other video explaining everything about it. Ended up quitting. Didn't have a backup plan. It was fucking crazy. But luckily in October 2021, I was able to get the job that I now currently still work at, which has been going fucking great. I love my job. But now that there was nothing holding me down in Florida, I wanted to set the goal, and we talked about it, that we should set a goal of moving out of Florida in about 2 years. 2 years, that should give us enough time to save up money, right? And then that was our plan. But it's funny when you try to save up money, then your car breaks down 20,000 times, flat tires every couple of months. Oh my God. It was like going back and forth between me and him. My car would get his, car would get mine. Oh my God. And then I had to replace all my tires because there was no tread on it. Oh my God. And then Hurricane Ian that drove through Fort Myers. Again, I talked about that in my previous video. Savings account, you said? You want savings? That's funny. Life just like... But that was our goal, was 2023, somehow we will try to move and like see if it's even a possibility. I didn't even have a clue if that was even possible. Spoiler, we did it. So we did talk about moving to possibly North Carolina. That is where my job actually is, but we all work from home. No one works in the office. We all live kind of like all over the East Coast. I think there might be one person in Texas, but I might be wrong about that. I don't remember. Honestly, my job downsized their office. And it's kind of just like a nice meeting place for like clients or for people to meet up, because the majority of our projects, all the materials are there. Most people have it in their their home office now, or at home in some way, but it's just kind of like a nice meeting point where a lot of people can meet. Now there are the really out of town people like me who cannot do that, but that's okay because I don't pick out the materials or anything like that, so it's totally fine. We did talk about North Carolina because it would be closer to home, but the whole point for us even moving out of Florida, a main point for us, was that we wanted to move closer to our friends and especially family. Now, all of my family is from Ohio. All of my boyfriend's family is from Indiana. And my family is very scattered throughout Ohio. I think it was just me and then Seattle, and I think everyone else is back in Ohio, which is good. My boyfriend's family is mostly all in Indiana, and I think one in Florida now. The whole point of us was to move closer. It was still gonna be like an 11-hour drive to even get back home, so we still wouldn't be able to see them whenever we wanted. And my boyfriend brought up, well, why not Indianapolis? And I'm like, I don't know. We both went to Ball State University, which is in Muncie, Indiana, aka Muncie Funcie. Muncie is not a great place to live in. Ball State is fine. Ball State is great, but the rest of Muncie is very sketchy. You don't go south of the river for a reason. But just living there, it wasn't a fun time. But Indianapolis is it's a lot more liberal, it's more democratic, it's very open-minded. It's not perfect, but where I was raised in a small farm town, Catholic community where it was really bad, and then just living in Florida for 5 years, and all of Florida is pretty bad. So those two combined, Indianapolis is like heaven. So I said, okay, fine, I'll finally become a freaking resident of Indiana. I never became an official resident before. I technically am still not a resident because I'm waiting. My birthday's in February, so I'm like waiting to switch everything over so I don't have to pay 2 registrations on my card, if you know. By 2023, I was fully ready to just get the hell out. I'm trying not to cuss, but like I was so fucking done with Florida. It is just a scary place to live in, especially if you're a woman, if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, if you have a uterus. It's not a fun place to live, and I fucking hate Florida. I will never go back. I swear to God, I will never go back to Florida. I started to actually look at places to possibly rent in January. That was way too soon. So the issue that we had with finding a new place is my boyfriend had to find a new job. Now, for the rest of jobs, normally, usually after the new year, a lot of job listings will start in like January and February after they do new budgets for the year and stuff like that. But my boyfriend is a teacher, so their listings don't go up until like May or June. And our lease ended July 4th. So most rental properties can only really hold your spot for like a month. They are not going to wait months and months. I was forced to wait until like May to like start looking again. It was really hard because I would see these wonderful places and I'm like, oh, but no place is going to hold. June is when I really we need to select something now. And I found a couple of houses, but I fell in love with one house. And this is the fucking roller coaster that we're at. Embark on. There's a lot of great contenders like in the Indianapolis area actually that are like in our budget. Florida for like a studio apartment right now is $2,000 starting for a studio, right? The market is so bad, like that's a whole other story. Again, I talk about all that stuff in my other video as well about just the whole shit process of that whole thing. I found a house that I really liked, but it was in pre-lease, which I've never heard of that term before, but honestly, I've been in this situation so many times. I just didn't know the term for it. So pre-lease means people are still living there, but they have given their notice that they are going to move out. But no one can tour the property while they still live there. Apparently, like, that's their own rule or something like that. But thinking back when I was like in college, because I moved every single year like a crazy person, but I would have people come and tour the house while I was still living there. Like, what the fuck? My senior apartment, The first 3 times, the first 3 tours, I made it look nice and I cleaned up. The 4th one, I'm like, just come in, I don't care. But I was still living there. I had 4 fucking tours, tour my fucking apartment. What the fuck? So no one could tour on the inside. Maintenance couldn't go in to see like what repairs needed to happen and all that stuff. So we had to wait. Now legally, they could change their mind at any time if they decide they don't want to move out or something like that. Now, I'm not like hoping that these people are getting kicked out of their house. They have given their written notice. I may have a little bit of tea on that, but I'm not 100% sure about what happened with the people who used to live here. I might have an idea though. So we had the option of gambling with properties and moving. We could secure the house and pay the security deposit to hold down the property so no one else could take it from us. Because I caught it right when it was meant to be. I caught it right when like they just listed it. It's in pre-lease. Like no one has moved out. It's not sitting empty. Like they just started the whole process of like releasing it out to someone new. So we could wait and hopefully they move out and see what happens. Or we go with an available house that we know and yada yada. What was perfect about the house that I really wanted is that it would be available July 1st, which was a Saturday. Our lease ended July 4th. Like it was meant to be. I looked at different properties and my boyfriend's parents actually helped us too. There was 2 houses that we were really considering. It was the nice one and then a house that was closer. It's on the east side of Indy, closer to where my boyfriend's parents live. If you know anything about Indianapolis, the east side is a little sketch. Not all of it, but it's not the nicest part of Indianapolis where my boyfriend's parents live. It's like a nice, perfect little pocket of like little suburbia, but like really older homes, like it's perfect. And then it gets sketchy. So there's one house that was closer there. If you know Indy, it was like near a busy road, busy highway next to like I think there's a mall that might be functioning. I don't know. There's like Walmart. There's a whole bunch of like restaurants, Best Buy. Like if you know Indy, you probably know where I'm talking about. I personally don't even remember the name of it. And they did take a tour of the inside because it was available. And it wasn't a bad house. It wasn't bad at all. And it was like everything we were looking for. It was just kind of like the area was not the best, you know. And they did like a little drive-by tour of the house that I really wanted because we couldn't tour the inside. Doesn't mean we can't, well they did, we were in Florida. Doesn't mean that they can't drive by and like look on the outside, be like, oh, this is the neighborhood. And they're like it looked great. The house was standing, it looked, you know, nice. And my boyfriend's mom was like, what you're willing to pay for rent, go with a nicer house. Because like you would still be paying the same amount, but it's like which neighborhood do you want to be in? Also, the nicer house is in an HOA. After some talking, we decided to gamble and we decided to pay the security deposit for the house, and we were just gonna wait and see. Now, the thing with the HOA, maybe I'll talk about that later. I did weekly check-ins. I would email just to see how things were going, if there's any news. No news is great news. The 2-week point, like before we were supposed to move, that's when like our nerves were all like on fire. I was like so fried and just like we just had no clue if we were going to be able to move in on time. Like if everything was going to be okay, if the place was going to be too damaged, like we didn't know how long repairs were going to take. And I was about, like, at that point, like, I will live in a house if it's under construction. That's fine. I'm an interior designer. I'm used to the construction. There's my hard hats up there. Like, that would be totally fine. Like, I'd be totally cool with that. I did talk to my parents about, like, the whole situation. And they did offer, like, for us to move back in there. Like, if something just, like, did not happen. Because we were not, like, our rent was going up in Florida. And honestly, for that place, it's not fucking worth it. It's not. And the place was falling apart constantly. Oh my god. Great times at that place. But my parents let us know, like, if anything happened, if that fell through or something like that, and you absolutely need to move July 1st weekend, like, you guys can obviously move back in with us while you figure it out. So we had that. So we knew that. And we're like, okay, not something I want to happen because that's in a totally different state, like 2 hours away in Ohio, and like, you know, just... So while we were waiting, a few things were happening at the 2-week mark. we had to figure out how the hell were we going to physically move all of our stuff 1,200 miles across the country. Container companies that, like, I can't remember, like, the big one that, like, scams a lot of people and they lose all of their stuff. Like, it's just kind of like a giant shipping container box thing. I can't remember what it's called. But literally they'll pick it up for you. It sounds great, right? And then you'll get your furniture in, like, a week or two, which is not the best. I looked at those companies, and it's like $3,000 to $4,000 to not have your furniture for 2 weeks. Like, oh, great. At the end of it, we're like, let's just do U-Haul. The problem is someone has to drive the truck with all of our stuff in it, and then we have our 2 vehicles, and we have 2 cats. The first time that we moved down in 2018, it was my parents and me sitting in a U-Haul, and then we had my 2004 Honda Accord strapped to the back of the U-Haul because that bitch was not going to make it across the country. So my dad was driving, and we moved everything down, and then they just flew back. The problem is, who is going to drive? So my dad originally, because he is retired, that worked out perfectly. He was retired. He drove down the first time. He's comfortable driving a big truck. But he was like, of course, I'll do it. And then bumps in the road came up. So he's totally fine. He's getting there. He's having some health issues, as one does. But he's totally fine. It was so weird. So January of this year, he literally was just at the dermatologist, and then, like, within a couple of months, there was, like, a scab behind his ear that randomly popped up, and it wasn't going away. He's like, what the heck? So they had it checked out again, and it was skin cancer. Cancer runs in my family. It's the second person now to get skin cancer. I am waiting for my time. They removed it. Everything was fine. They checked the lymph nodes. It was completely gone. They removed it, and he has, like, this huge scar behind his ear. But at the time, because the surgery was behind his ear, like, swelled up and he wasn't able to, like, hear. And I'm like, I don't want you driving and then getting dizzy because you can't hear. And, like, they were testing the lymph nodes, like, Wednesday, and we were moving, like, Friday. I'm like, no, you need to stay home. You need to take care of yourself, okay? And he was kind of upset because, like, I promised I would. I'm like, no. You just found out you had fucking skin cancer. Stay home. And then we asked my boyfriend's parents, and we didn't know, like, if his dad was okay driving, like, such a big truck all that way, and it was a big ask. They did say yes, and they flew down that Thursday, and they helped us and all that, and we're just, like, so fucking grateful for them because we were running out of options. We're gonna give them, like, the biggest Christmas gift of all time. I don't know what it is, or pay them some money. I don't know. Just forever grateful for them. And I think we paid for their, like, hotel room. I can't even remember what we paid for. I think we did. Just, so much. The U-Haul ended up, I think, being around $2,000-ish. My car insurance doesn't pay for U-Hauls, so you have to buy, like, another insurance thing. Buy the insurance, or else you're gonna pay $1,000 in case something happens. Luckily, nothing ever happened. It was totally fine. A week before we were going to move, we got a call that the house was ready. And I'm like, what the heck? They told us that the current tenants were not moving out until, like, June 30th. The house was going to be, like, cleaned up. The carpets just needed to be cleaned. And then finally, we could take a tour the week that we were moving, which is awful. But we wanted to take the gamble. I really wanted this house. There's so many obstacles. And I'm like, I'm so sick of living in a shit place. Like, the previous place we lived in would fall apart all the time. Then we had the hurricane. The ceiling collapsed in, like, the bathroom at one point. Like, oh my God, we're so sick of just shit always breaking. My boyfriend's parents were able to take a tour. There are a couple of things. Always, like, run every single sink and look underneath to see if there are leaks. And I'm so glad I told them to do this because the kitchen sink had a huge leak underneath it, and there's just, like, a pool of water collecting underneath it. So we told them right away to fix that. My bathroom, what ended up being my bathroom, the sink in the bathroom, like, barely any water was coming out of it. I don't know what broke, but they had to call a fucking plumber for that shit. Like, that wasn't just an easy fix. I don't know. And then just the installation of all of, like, the shower heads, it was just poor. So, again, I'm an interior designer, and, like, I literally check for this stuff. Like, this is the shower, this is a shower head, and this is, like, the pipe. Like, this is the wall. Like, the pipe was fully coming out, and I'm like, water can easily get behind that drywall, and mold, that's how it starts. And I'm like, can you install that right, and like the handle was loose. Honestly, the toilets are loose. It's a lot of loose things, but I told him about it. The landlord special. So my boyfriend's parents flew down on Thursday. They stayed the night in our extra room, guest room, office, game room, that collaboration room. So they stayed the night there, and then bright and early we picked up the truck, and it was hot. Remember in Florida how it gets hot in the summer, like really hot? We were moving that weekend. It was, I think by the point that we left, it was in the 90s, but it felt like 100 degrees. It was so hot. We were sweating bucket. I think we left the house, the apartment around like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It was really late. We had been working all day, just packing by ourselves. We did not have any other movers. Oh my God, I got sunburnt, and a couple of days later, the plantar fasciitis started, which I'm currently still dealing with. Whenever we drive across country, which we've done a couple of times from Florida all the way back to the Midwest, we usually stop like right above Atlanta just so we can get through the majority of Atlanta. I think I rolled in around like 12:30 in the morning. I had the cats with me. And oh wow. Now they had been in a car for that long when we moved down to Florida. And then for the hurricane, we were all in the car together, and they're in the same carrier, that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. This time I knew, okay, we're gonna get you 2 separate carriers. Thor is very anxious and will step all over Misty. Misty is like the alpha, and she's a girl. Girl cats are like, don't fucking touch me, get away from me. She was mostly chill. She would sing a couple of times, but Thor was like singing to his people in the motherland for like an hour straight. Like, bro, I'm trying to like just tune you out because we got 24 hours together. Every like 45 minutes, he would like chirp up again and start singing to his people in the motherland. And then he would calm down. I'm like, oh my God. We couldn't do music, could do podcasts. I would like switch back and forth. But he just liked the podcast, just people talking. Didn't like the music. I think the bass was too loud. That was fun. Surprisingly, the cats do really well in the hotels. Usually what I do is I'll have like one big litter box, and no matter how hard you try to clean that thing, it still stinks. I would put it in like a trash bag just to like hold the stench a little bit more, have kitty litter, their food, and yada yada. We would just be bringing in a whole circus in the hotel room. But because of the hurricane, they kind of got their first glimpse of like what it is to like be living in a hotel room. So they're kind of used to it, which was nice. The next day we drove for like another kind of like 8 to 10 hours, something like that. We finally made it to the Indianapolis house, and of course a huge storm was rolling in. We brought a little bit of Florida with us, and I think I got to Indianapolis around like 8 p.m. Now this was in the summer when the sun was like still up for like another hour. My boyfriend got there first, like an hour early first, because he doesn't do pee breaks. He doesn't drink any water or anything at all. He just like fucking goes, he speeds. For me, I need Red Bull. I stop like honestly every 2 hours. So I'm like, if I'm one of those people, like if I don't have water next to me, there's a little bit in there, I will feel like my throat is like closing up and it's dry. When you're driving across the country, when you move like anywhere from Florida to like the Midwest, you're on 75 the whole entire time. It's not entertaining except for when you get to Tennessee. That's when it's so pretty. I don't know if it was like Chattanooga or something. Oh my God, it was so pretty. But driving on like the side of a mountain, that's sketchy. So he got there first. And then he called me, and I was still like an hour away. He's like, so we don't have electricity at the house. And I'm like, what? We both forgot to set up all of the utility bills at the new house. I'd remembered, and I even literally made a TikTok, I remembered to shut off all of the ones for our old apartment, but forgot to set it all up for the new one. And we both forgot. And we're like, oh my God, so we don't have electricity. Now, it wasn't like hot there, and we could like hunker down. Like, again, the hurricane prepared us for a lot of stuff, except for taking all of our money, all of our savings. And of course, by the time we got there on a Saturday, no one is working at the electric company. Everyone's at home. And for some reason, the electric company here in Indianapolis, they only work Monday to Friday, like in their office. No one is there during the weekend in case you have an emergency. No one is there. The huge storm was coming. It was starting to like sprinkle. I like go to Lowe's and try to find like a generator or something just so, like we can charge our phones. We were thinking maybe possibly we could unload the mattress at least just for tonight because there's a huge fucking storm. Huge storm coming through. It was downpouring. Like there are trees knocked over. It was so windy. I don't know if there was just so much lightning. It was just a fucking nightmare. But the only generators like I could find, they were like $600. And I'm like, I don't want to spend that much money. That night was horrible. It was such a horrible night. Joey's parents offered like maybe we could stay at their house somehow, but we have the cats, and then maybe we could stay with like their aunts or uncles or grandparents, but we have the cats. It's just like the cats were the problem. They need to go somewhere and be able to roam around and like, you know, they can't be stuck in those carriers for any longer. After some talking, we just agreed to just get a hotel room, and we're just going to find the cheapest fucking one that we can find. Because finding a hotel is a lot cheaper than spending $600 on a generator just to charge our phones. Like that's not it. Like we just needed a bed just to sleep. Places were booked the fuck up. Like last minute trying to find a place. Oh my God. I was like calling everybody, but I found a place for Saturday night, Sunday night. For literally spending 2 nights. I spent somehow $400. We had to pay a pet fee for each cat. Honestly, next time I'm gonna lie about that. It got from like $89 a night for 2 nights, right? And then with all of that, somehow it's like at $400. And like that's honestly all the money I had left with me. Like that's all money. We were so fucking broke. But I'm just like, just take it. We'll deal with it. I picked like the shittiest sketch. That honestly, I had been in a shitty, sketchy hotel before. I have been in my share of shitty hotels. But this one is number 1. Like 1-star hotel. Holy fucking shit. I don't even know. By the point that we got to the hotel, it was like, I think 11 o'clock at night. And that thing was like lit up. Like everyone was like out in the hallways. No one could stay in their room. Like everyone is like running around. Weed everywhere. Do whatever you want. It is super illegal in Indiana in every sort of way. But like everyone is just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know, some sketchy shit's going on. The first room that we got was on the 3rd floor. It was like locked from the inside. Like someone had like put that little security thing on and we couldn't physically get in. And we're like, are you kidding me? So I went downstairs and I'm like, we can't get in. So I run upstairs, I grab him because we had all the cats, all of our suitcases, and we come back downstairs. She puts us in a new room on the 1st floor. It was at the very end, of course. And the carpet was soaking wet because there was a window there. And it was like flooding inside. This storm was so bad. And luckily it wasn't flooding inside of the room, but it was like, you would step, it's like puddles outside. And we're like, oh my God. So we get in the room. The toilet is clogged already. The TV doesn't work. The phone doesn't work, so you can't call the front desk. You have to go back up there. And it was just the most disgusting thing. It was just like, we were so done. We hadn't eaten anything yet. We were, oh my God, I was like fighting just to keep it together. But honestly, just crying in the Taco Bell drive-thru. That's where we ended up. Anyway, so that was the first night in Indy. So the next day, we went back to the house. We unpacked the whole entire truck in like a couple of hours. We basically just put the boxes in the rooms that they belong to. We relieved my boyfriend's parents of their duties. They are free to go. At least they could sleep in their own beds at night. My boyfriend, this is on Sunday now. So my boyfriend ended up driving the truck back, and he found out that he actually likes driving the U-Haul trucks. He actually likes driving the big trucks. I was a little nervous. I was driving behind him. I'm like, please don't hit anything. On Monday was the last night in the hotel room. That's all that we could afford. My boyfriend got up super early while I was asleep. I was already on the phone with the electric company. They were open on July 3rd. And like July 4th is when everything shuts down again. So he was on the phone. It's like, please turn on our shit. Like, here's our whole situation. After like an hour or so, we were able to do that. And we had power again. That was the first problem. Next problem. Literally that weekend, while we figured out like, oh, we forgot to turn on any utilities, I had placed an order with the water company because I don't even think I don't know, it was during the weekend. I don't think you could call anyone. You just had to put in like a written request. So I requested for them to turn on the water. The only available day that they had, like the closest, was July 7th. Now the water was still working at our house, so I didn't think it was going to be an issue. But you know something happened. July 7th is when they were just going to switch it to our names, right? But somebody physically had to come out in person. I don't know why. Apparently, the landlord had requested that they shut off the water on July 5th, just in case we never switched it, they wouldn't be paying for it, whatever. But I guess they waited 2 extra days to do that. I'm not sure why. But we put in the request in the beginning of July, like July 1st or 2nd, for it to be put into our name. They totally ignored our request, and they completely shut off all of the water. This happened around like 10 or 11 in the morning. They just shut it off completely, and we're like, what the heck is happening? So I called them, and they were like, so the next available person that can come out to your house would be on July 12th. Like, water's a basic human right? And I'm like, no. You guys messed up. Luckily, we had to go out of town because we had our friend's wedding. But I'm like, you guys messed up. You guys messed up. At this point, I'm like just fucking mentally done. It gets worse, right? After they talked to their supervisor, they were able to get someone else to come out to the house the very next day. And he rang the doorbell, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And he's like, your water's back on. And then he left, and I'm like, cool. The next step was to buy a washer and dryer. Apparently, no one in Indiana, I don't know why, they don't supply washer and dryers for renters anymore. In Florida, they do. It just comes with the property, you would think, because you're just renters. But apparently no one at all here supplies it. So you have to buy your own. And we're like, okay, great. So we ordered from Samsung because it was the July 4th sale. And honestly, Samsung was the cheapest option. It was still like, I think in the end, like $1,000 or something for both. We placed the order on July 5th. The earliest that they could deliver was July 12th. And you know why I'm smiling. Because if you have ever bought from Samsung, you know. For me, I did my laundry at the Airbnb. They were staying out. I made sure, like, I selected, like, there's a whole bunch of us staying there. But I made sure that there was a washer and dryer there because we hadn't been able to do laundry since we moved out of Florida on June 30th. So, like, I was trying to, like, strategically plan when I can do my laundry. They called the day before, and they said that our time window for July 12th would be between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. I work from home. My boyfriend did not start his new job yet, and yes, he did find a job here. I confirmed with them. They said that the next day, they would call 30 minutes before they were going to come to our house and install it. Cool. So we waited for 4 hours. No call, no email, nothing. And I knew if I, like, called before, they'd be like, oh, well, you just have to wait for a call. So 8 p.m. on the dot, I'm fucking calling them because it's not even fucking here right now. The window is closed, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening? I call them to say, what's up? I got hung up on 5 times. Like, I would connect with them, and then they would just be like, hello? And I'm like, yo, I am starting to lose my fucking shit after everything else that just fucking happened, and now this is happening, and I'm like, about to lose my freaking mind. So at this point, both of us were calling. Me and my boyfriend are trying to get a hold of someone, and we both finally did, connected to 2 different people, and this is when I found out what actually happened. He's like, yeah, someone in your notes said that you weren't home, so they couldn't deliver. That pissed me the fuck off. I'm like, I literally work from home. I confirmed the night before and literally did not receive any phone call, no email. She's like, oh, that's so weird. I fucking hate that. My guess is that they didn't want to do the last delivery of the day. And they're like, let's just skip it and, say fuck them, right? So that was on a Wednesday. And she said the next delivery that they could possibly do would be the following Monday. Why is it not right now? Like, why is it not tomorrow? Like, this just pisses me off because we've been waiting since July 5th at this point, and now it's the 12th. Of course, I was going to be out of the state on that day, and my boyfriend was starting his new job. We wanted this to happen on Wednesday because we were busy. So we eventually agreed on the 17th, but we're like, it has to be after 4 p.m. because that's when my boyfriend is home. And they're like, well, we can't really guarantee a time window. And I'm like, well, if you delivered it today like you were supposed to, we wouldn't be having this issue. And oh my God. And then literally they were only a 10-minute drive away from our house. And I'm like, could we pick it up? And she said, you can pick it up between 6 and 8 in the morning on Saturday. Long story short, we're like, just come on the 17th and just deliver it. Well, it has to be after 4 p.m. or else no one is going to be home. We are telling you this. And it ended up working out like that. So I was out of town and my boyfriend was able to like be home for that and all this stuff. The washer, no issue. Nothing works out great the first time, does it? Or the third or the fifth. The dryer, they started to run it and smoke was just billowing out of it. Like, oh, it's making this really loud, like, rumbling noise and just so much smoke. And it just smelled like a fucking fire. Like something was burning inside of it. And they shut it off. And the installation guys, the delivery guys, were like, oh yeah, sometimes that like happens with Samsung. Like a lot of their stuff just comes in broken. What? Now, for anyone who's ever had a Samsung, I don't know, so far we've had no issues with their washer. Their products looked really great. I always thought like they had really great appliances, but the customer service is probably the worst thing about that company. It is horrible. So my boyfriend is now like on the phone with Samsung because we ordered it from their website, not from a retailer, which is good, I think. So he's on the phone for like an hour or two just talking to Samsung, and we're like, well, we need it replaced, like it's not working, and like it came in broken. That's what the delivery guy said, and yada yada. They said they wouldn't take it back until a repair guy comes out and looks at it and see if it can be repaired and all this stuff. We're like, okay. So on July 27th, a repair guy comes out and he's like, so the delivery guys definitely broke this. So this was his note for anyone who understands technical shit like this. The bottom frame is damaged and the drum is grinding against the blower housing. Those are his exact words. Basically, that's why smoke is coming out. The burning smell is kind of what all new dryers smell like. That was a normal smell. But the smoke is literally because it's grinding against each other. But this only happens like when you fuck up so bad during installation. Like that's the delivery guys dropping it or doing something stupid and just, that was on them. And he was like, I don't even know why I was sent out because this is not repairable. Like, it fully needs to be completely replaced. Like, there's no way that you can repair this. Now, at this point, we haven't had a working dryer for 4 weeks. We did have the washer, and it worked perfectly and was fine. We just had to take turns because we had to air dry everything, and that would take, like, 2 full days, and we had to, like, take turns, and it was so annoying. But we did have a washer at least. So I told the repairman, I'm like, I may just return it. I may just go with a different company because this delivery company, I never want to fucking work with him ever fucking again. He did warn me that I may not be able to replace it because I may only have 7 days to return it. Actually, it's 15 days after the delivery day, which I did confirm. And I was like, I was good. So it was fine. But I was going to fucking yell at them because it's broken. Like, what the fuck? Of course we got the warranty on it. Of course we have that. But the repairman's like, just fight them because you have a broken dryer. The delivery people broke it. And he said, if you're in the Indianapolis area, go to Grand Appliances because they will fucking hook you up and they actually fucking take care of you. They're not some big fucking corporate. No. They're local people and they would take care of you. And I'm like, got it. After another week or so, the delivery people picked it up. We were able to get a refund. We went to Grand Appliances. It literally took 5 minutes. We're like, that dryer. It's like, do you need anything else? Like, no. All right. And I think within like a couple of days, we got a working dryer. It was so fucking fast. I think we just got like a GE one, like whatever. And we told him about the whole situation. He's like, oh, Samsung? Yeah. Yeah, we all know. We all know about their customer service. Just like, don't order Samsung. Which is so sad, it's just their customer support and just like the whole process was so bad. So, but holy shit, that was our journey with the washer and dryer. And at least like we own them now. We fully own them. We're paying off the credit card. We're getting there. But overall, it's been super wonderful to be back in Indiana. Just witnessing fall and the leaves changing and like, oh my god, I missed it. Halloween. Okay, so we're in like a really big suburb area and like Halloween was fucking crazy. We got so many kiddos in our neighborhood and like I dressed up the whole outside. I was so excited. Because in Florida, kids don't do that. And they still have like around here, they do like the trunk Halloween thing. I guess it's safer. I don't know, it's boring in my opinion. But in Florida, like we got maybe 3 kids, like with all 5 years, we maybe got 3 kids come to our house every Halloween. That was it. But here, oh my god, within like an hour, we were out of candy, honestly. Like, we're like, oh my god. So next year, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm going crazier. We're slowly learning about our neighbors, stuff like that. But I talked to my neighbor next door. Everyone's a little bit older. They're retired next door to us. But she loves Halloween. She's like, my husband yells at me because he thinks I buy too much Halloween decorations. And I'm like, no, I feel you. Because I'm literally hanging up like black creepy cloth things. And I have my, I don't know. I'll put a picture up of like, this is what it looked like. This is what I could do like on a budget. Honestly, Dollar Tree. All from Dollar Tree. We're still working on the furniture in the house and just working on the house in general. Even though we rent, there's still like some things. So one of the reasons why we wanted this house as well is that we have a screened-in lanai out back, right? There's no door. Like, it's just open. And we talked to the maintenance guy. It was like a request. I'm like, can we get a door? Because this is one of the reasons why I wanted it. And in the photos, they don't show the side of the lanai. There has been a door there for a very long time. And the maintenance guy is like, if there wasn't one here when you moved in, they're not going to pay for one. But you could get one from like Home Depot or Lowe's. But it's like $200. So it's on the list of things. Or maybe we can get like a screen or something. Right now it's just like a giant bug catcher, which the spiders love. It is just so many dead moths back there. Birds get trapped back there, which is, I've had to like usher them out from the outside. I've like done that 3 times already. Anyway, but yeah, that was the last 4 months of my life. This was like fucking nuts. Everything's been perfectly fine. We're so happy we do not have to travel like on a plane over the holidays. This will be our first Thanksgiving in 5-6 years with our family. But yeah, we're like settling in. Nothing crazy has happened. It was just like the first 2 months was just so fucking chaotic. Yeah, we're gonna stay in this house until we can afford to buy a house. We are never moving again after that. We're done. Thank you so much for watching my crazy long update video. I had to get it out there, and like now you know everything. Now you know everything about my life. Just kidding. I'm going to make another video about something else that I did. I had a surgery and I wanted it to happen and the whole process. But that'll be for next video. I'm out of time. I gotta go. Okay, bye.